What's an Afro-Latino? She don't look like she can speak Spanish. When did black people start speaking Spanish? Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. And my name is Talia, and today we are going to talk about what it is to be an Afro-Latina. What's an Afro-Latino? Well, in my case, I'm gonna let you know a little bit about myself. I spoke a little bit about who I am as far as my culture on this channel before, but for whatever reason it has become such a hot topic on what an Afro-Latino is, as if we're some freaking weird, science experiment that has, that has broken out of the lab, and here we are, making noise in the social media world. So I just wanted to kind of give you some form of background, at least on who I am and my culture, and a little bit about the Afro-Latino community and what the uproar is truly about, and the noise that Amara La Negra is really trying to come across and what point she's trying to make. So I am a Hondureña. My parents are from Central America. I've said this before. If you're new to my channel, welcome. If you didn't know, Girl Rock on the Fro is an Afro-Latina. So both of my parents, so I'm 100% Afro-Latino. I was born and raised in America. So I'm from Boston. From Boston, I moved to Virginia. From Virginia, I moved here to Atlanta, Georgia as a grown adult. But on my mom's side, again, a Honduran, born and raised in Honduras. She is 100% Honduran, but her dad was Jamaican, and my grandmother is what you considered the stereotypical looking Hispanic person. She's a lighter complexion. She is actually Mayan. So my grandmother, grandfather, Jamaican, made my mother still Honduran, still Honduran code. Her parents were from Honduras, except for my grandfather was of Jamaican descent. So, in my dad again, born and raised in Honduras, but he is Garifuna, which is a Nigerian. It's a community derived from Nigeria, and they speak Nigerian dialect, and that's where the Afrikaan comes into play. So, both still in all same country, both main language is Spanish. I was born and raised to speak Spanish and English, and ta-da! This is what an Afro-Latino is. And I am of a dark skin. Boom. But it was like, oh, but you don't look you speak Spanish. What does that look like exactly? Like, do we all have to be light skin complexion? There's no such thing as a dark skin anybody in any culture. Like, does that make sense to you, for you to even say that out loud? But it was never, Hispanics were never known to be of a dark skin. And then when you say that you are Hispanic, the other thing was, well, you're really not black. Well, who told you that? Like, who's the one that put it in your head that black people can't speak Spanish? And if you are dark skinned and can speak Spanish, that you are not black. The ignorance is so unreal, especially now in 2018. It's like nobody has a clue on different cultures. Like, why? Like, why haven't we grown as an American culture on different people and, their cultures? Like, why would you think that the United States is the only country that has different shades of any color? The ruckus is coming from, because now that Amara La Negra, if you guys do not know her, I don't know where you guys are, but she is a Latino artist. She's actually born and raised in Miami, but her family is Dominican, and she's a singer, and she is well known in the Latin community, and she is the one that is now voicing out who Afro-Latinos are, and she wants to be acknowledged that she is a dark-skinned Latino, and she's loud and proud about it. But it has everyone in the uproar, and I don't understand why. But I definitely wanted to put my 2 cents in it because that's me. That's who I am, and I've always been open with my culture. Always been open about it. It's all over my social media as far as me being an Afro-Latino, so it has nothing to do with her coming out and then everybody want to jump on the bandwagon, and it's coming across as if, here she comes and now all the Afro-Latinos want to come about and, make noise too. Like, okay, well, since she's, doing it, here we all trickling behind her. No, there's been plenty of YouTubers, plenty of people on social media who have been starting noise as far as acknowledging who Afro-Latinos are. And the struggle is this. Not me per se. In my own immediate family, I've had a struggle as far as colorism. Not going to go into too much detail about that because I didn't have a conversation with my family to put out, our own situation in our entire family, but it's true. And I had a conversation with my dad the other day, and I was asking him, was he ever discriminated against when he was in Honduras? And he was like, absolutely. That the lighter complected Hondurans looked at Garifunas as if, they were too good to even acknowledge who they were. And, and vice versa. He said, even now that we're my grandmother, his mom, the house that she has in Honduras, like there's a community to where it's a lot of Garifunas, which are the darker skin folks, where they are, that one of my uncles on my mom's side, who is light skinned, wanted to visit my dad, and it was like an act of Congress. Like my uncle couldn't just go see my dad while he was there in Honduras because of who he is. So that colorism is real. And which brings me to what Charlamagne Tha God, the interview he had with Amada, like the ignorance. I know that he has to live up to his character on being that sarcastic prick. Like I get that, but you had this interview with her as if you were clueless to what Afro-Latinos were. And I don't understand why you're so confused in 2018 when you said you had the same conversation on the Brilliant Idiots channel in 2016 as far as Afro-Latino activism and what is an Afro-Latina and the conversation you were having. So you weren't clueless to who we are, but you came across as if it was the first time you ever heard of Black people speaking Spanish, which bothered me. And which I guess bothered a lot of people because you guys did acknowledge that interview and what came out of your mouth. And it was like, okay, like there really was no excuse for that. And you should be mad at yourself for coming off crazy. Like, I know you didn't graduate from nowhere, but that still isn't an excuse. You interview people all the time. I'm sure you do some form of research. Like, even if you didn't have a conversation prior to meeting with her, it was like, so why didn't you do research, period, on Afro-Latinos? And another thing that's really bothering me is that it was a post that I saw on Twitter saying that, like being Black now is cool. So now all the dark-skinned Latinos want to jump on the bandwagon and want to acknowledge their Blackness. And I know that Dominicans are the ones who get ridiculed a lot for denouncing their Blackness. But why would another person of color feel like it was okay to start picking apart another person of color? That alone does not make sense to me. To sit here and pick apart someone else's struggle or someone else's issues with even their own skin complexion to another person who has definitely been discriminated against because of the color of their skin. Like, why would it come out your mouth to be like, okay, let me pick you apart because of the color of your skin? That makes no sense to me. Like, from a person who doesn't discriminate against anybody, I don't understand, like, why would I feel like it would, why would I pick you apart and say, well, acknowledge my struggle, but I'd be damned if I'm going to acknowledge yours. So just asking Amara, like, is the struggle in your head? That's like saying, hey, brother, when police officers stop random Black men, like, that's not a thing, police officer situation on black men. Like, get that out of your head. That's in your imagination. How ignorant would that be of me to put that out in the atmosphere? Like, that was right. Whether he said he was confused by the whole conversation or whatever have you, it's like, pause. You do this on a daily basis. You make people donkey of the damn day excuse me, for the stupid stuff that come out their mouth. So you know that you have to think before you speak, right? Like, so I don't know where your ignorance came on that day. And I actually love Charlamagne Tha God, but that day it really bothered me because I felt like she was cornered, because she was defending and going so hard for who she is, and having a person go back and forth about, who you are, bothered the hell out of me. So yeah, there was really no excuse for him not knowing, especially having a conversation almost 2 years prior to. I also want to acknowledge some YouTubers here that are of Afro-Latino descent, and kind of just bring noise to the small community. There's plenty of us who are proud of who we are, and I'm gonna definitely leave some links to those people. The first person that I actually started loving, who is Dominican, her name is Monica Style Muse, the very first Afro-Latina YouTuber up here. No, I'm to the back. Iris was the very first one, but I really didn't know whether or not she identified herself as Afro-Latina. But now that I know that she does, I still watch them, subscribe to them both. But Monica, because she looked more like me. She's of a deeper complexion and, hair texture and all, and proud of who she is. And that is beautiful to see someone else like me acknowledging who they are and just making noise. And again, like, it was never something that I personally would like, I'm gonna jump on the bandwagon and say, hey, this is me. I've always made noise about who I am and who I am proud to be. And yes, black people know how to speak Spanish, and it's not a thing, it's not a phase, it's not something that we denounce. So that really irks my life. Because if I'm saying that I am Afro-Latina, that means I'm acknowledging my blackness. For those idiots who are saying when we put that in front of Latino, that means that we're denouncing. Nobody's going to school nowadays. Like, people's comprehension is way off. So yeah, so you have Monica Style Muse, you have Iris, and also Monica, her cousin. She also has a channel called Call Me Chrissy. She only has 2 videos up there though. So, but I know that on her Instagram she's talking about making more videos, and she's an upcoming YouTuber. So go check her out, and whatever she puts out in the atmosphere, I'm sure it's gonna be great. And I also came across Thaliaseyecandy. She is Puerto Rican and Honduran. She's another Hondureña. So I'm gonna leave everybody's links down in my description box. And yeah, I just wanted to put my 2 cents out there, let you know who I am, let you know that here's another Afro-Latino who is always going to be proud of who she is, always going to make noise. And I'm glad that I might have shaken the ground a little bit, but I didn't think that she was going to piss people off so badly about saying who she is and why she loves herself. Who gets mad at another individual for loving themselves? Like, who says? Because her complexion is so beautiful. It still blows my mind that people really thought this woman was in blackface, and it was coming from black people saying she was in blackface. But let me just share a little story with you. And this has nothing to do with me being Afro-Latino, but this has something to do with me being black. I live in the South. And so, working with people on a day-to-day basis and having patients come from every walk of life. But you do get a lot of white ones here, and you do get a lot of ignorant ones here in Georgia. And it was, what was it? I think it was Thursday, where my hair was out like this. And I usually don't have my hair in a fro all the time, because when it gets hot and then it puffs up around my ears, and then it's just too much when I'm up and down the halls and dealing with patients and giving injections and all that. Is just too much. So I was in a room with a patient and going over his chart and things of that nature, and I felt him staring at me, right? So, I told him, I said, I'll be right back. I'm going to get the glucometer so I can come back in and check your blood sugar. So then when I walk back into his room, he's like, I love a black woman I love a good old fro on a black woman. So I'm like, okay. It's nothing worse than seeing a black woman wearing white women's hair. I guess that's the whole weave situation. And I come from the old school where, black women wore their hair so beautiful. It was like a lion in the Serengeti. Okay. And it's like, you expect to hear ignorant stuff. He kept going, like he didn't know when to stop. And he told me to spread the word. He told me to tell other black women, listen, you gotta rock your own hair. The natural stuff is in, all that weave is out. But the fact that this guy felt comfortable enough to say it to me. Mind you, I'm at work, so I gotta hold my tongue because that's what pays my bills. But the fact that he said it, and so I kind of expect that from ignorant white people. I love everybody. Let me put that out there. But fact is, we still live in an era where there's ignorance from all walks, clearly. And we also have a person in power who doesn't have the sense that God gave him, who is spreading the hatred. So we definitely have to counteract as a people to make sure that we're not continuing the hate, we're not continuing the discrimination, and we know when to say, listen, enough is enough. We're going to love one another, acknowledge everybody for who they are, embrace everybody for who they are, and it's not our place to judge. God didn't give us that power. And I don't know why people think they have it. But if you can sit here and say that dark-skinned women of whatever culture is up on a pedestal like this and remain there, and that's not a struggle for us to even get there, and you don't even acknowledge that, like, I don't understand where you've been and why people are just chopping down what Amada has to say. There's a lot of people who are backing her, and then there's some that's like, okay, this girl is like, she's crazy. But I thank God for her. I thank God that she's out here making all types of noise about the Afro-Latino community. I really appreciate that. And, we all need to come together, whether we're of Latin descent or not, to just, bring awareness and also support each other, because that's what we should do in whatever cause. So yes, if you enjoyed this video, please give this video a thumbs up. Also, leave a comment down leave a comment down below in my comment section, letting me know what you think about the whole discussion about Afro-Latinos, and what did you know? Did you think that we existed? I mean, we're some, some lab rat that just, are coming out all of a sudden. I'm like, what did you know about us? So leave that, that comment down below. And yeah, check me out on all my social media. That is Thaliaseyecandy. That's on Twitter, Snapchat, Instagram, and Facebook. And I will definitely catch you all in the next